Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Lots to get into this morning. We'll be talking about a transfer setback in relation to Timber from Ajax. We'll also be talking about a training ground update around a United player over the next two games. And also we'll be talking about Darwin Nunez and Steven Bergwijn of Spurs. That's a story that's sort of breaking this morning. United and Ten Hag's continued interest in Steven Bergwijn of Tottenham. So we've got that to talk about as well. But two pretty big updates. I tell you what, I find it hilarious. I do look around social media and other outlets and it amazes me how they can regurgitate a story that started on this channel and then make out that they've got it from somewhere else because they're so bitter that they can't actually acknowledge the fact that it came from us. But you know what, you can have this one as well, and let's see how you regurgitate this story, because this has come from a source that I've spoken to that's not even hit the news yet. So let's see how you're gonna regurgitate this one for your bloody views, twats. Anyway, let's get on with it. So we're going to be talking about, first of all, two big updates I've had this morning. One's in relation to the training ground, one's in relation to Timber. Now, in relation to Timber, there is a transfer setback. Now, hold your horses on this. I got this from a very, very good source this morning. And effectively, Manchester United are very interested in Timber. They wouldn't have been interested in Timber. It wasn't a player they were going to go for this summer. But obviously, Ten Hag really likes Timber, believes that he's going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world over the next 2 or 3 years, and would love to bring him to Manchester United. The problem Manchester United have got around Timber and the setback is Ajax don't really want to let him go. Manchester United and Ten Hag want to be respectful to Ajax, because Ajax have been very good in letting Ten Hag discuss and move to Manchester United when they're in a title race. They've been very good about letting Ten Hag start the job as soon as he's won the title. So there's massive respect between Manchester United, Ajax and Erik Ten Hag. Ajax do not want to let Timber go, and United have basically got to sort of disrespect Ajax in a way, unless Ajax accepts, yes, you can have him. Of course, in the background, Bayern Munich are there, who don't really give a shit about anybody, and they're going, well, we've had Gravenberch, we've had your right back, we'll go for Timber as well. So United are not fighting a losing battle yet. They're fighting a very difficult battle with Timber. And this may explain why yesterday that story came out about Ndika from Frankfurt, and why there's been talk of Torres, and why there's been talk of a couple of other centre-backs, because Manchester United do face challenges in bringing Timber to Manchester United. So the update is this: Manchester United do want Timber. Ten Hag does want Timber, but they also realise they've got to be very respectful to Ajax. I mean, well, they don't have to be, I suppose. You don't have to be, but they will be, because they've got a good relationship with Ajax. Ten Hag's got a good relationship with Ajax, and they don't want to sort of get Timber to be forcing a move out of Ajax and pissing Ajax off. So United have got to, what I was told is United have got to tread very carefully with a Timber deal. It can still happen, and it is still a priority, but the problem they've got is they can't push it the way maybe a Bayern Munich could. So at the moment, there's three options for Timber. You could stay at Ajax for another year, which doesn't help Manchester United. You could go to Bayern Munich. They are very interested in him. Or Man United, Ajax, Ten Hag, Timber, sort out something. But of course, the big thing is, what does Timber want to do? Does Timber want to come with Ten Hag to Manchester United, or does he want to go to Bayern Munich? Or does he want to stay at Ajax? So it's not a straightforward deal, and this explains why we're looking at other centre-backs. I mean, the conversation I had this morning was basically about, are United looking at buying two centre-backs? Because we have been linked to Pau Torres, we have been linked to Timber, we have been linked to Akanji. I was told we're not looking to buy two centre-backs. The problem is United don't know which centre-back they're going to get, because it's difficult. It's difficult. And the Timber one is probably Ten Hag's number one priority, but it's a difficult deal to do due to, you know, the politeness that exists between. I felt a bit like Carragher there. You know, Manchester United, Timber's a difficult deal to do. Structure players, but yeah, it is a difficult deal to do. I think it's the best deal for Manchester United to do. I think most of you would agree with that, but it is going to be difficult. What are your expectations of United in the next 2 years, says Viral? I don't really want to talk about that, Viral, at the start of a transfer show, if I'm completely honest. I know that comes across as a little bit rude, but we are trying to boost through some news. I'll come back on at the end. We're already failing in the transfer window. What a surprise. Just United. You know what, as well? I'm really struggling this morning. My contrast and brightness on my laptop completely changed last night. I was watching that on That's Football. I went to do Control and C. I hit something and it changed my display settings. And I've been trying to change it ever since. But the contrast is really sharp and I just can't. It's really hurting my eyes. I've been messing around with it for 10 minutes. I had night mode on, day mode on. I don't know whether anyone knows what I've hit on my keyboard, but I can't get it right and it's really hurting my eyes. We're already failing in transfer. What a surprise. Just trying to be positive. No Rangnick full-time, no experienced technical director, says Jay. Well, Jay, I don't think you can be negative about the transfer window before it's even started. But I think you've got to be realistic. I mean, we've got an update on Darwin Nunez and to bring you in in a moment, and you could say that that's quite a positive story as well. But in relation to Timber, I think a lot of people are just assuming this deal's going to happen. He plays for Ajax, he's with Ten Hag, he'll want to come with Ten Hag. But it's not that. That's not that straightforward. Bayern Munich genuinely are sniffing around that deal. Ajax genuinely don't want to sell him. They've already lost 2 players, definitely. They don't want to lose 3 or 4 or 5 players. And Timber's young. And they also know if they can keep Timber for... Ajax's motivation is that Timber's very young. They know if they keep him for another year, it'll be worth even more money. They don't want Timber to go. And United are in a very difficult position because they do want Timber for Ten Hag, and Ten Hag does want Timber, but they don't want to upset Ajax because there's a good relationship there. But as I said, Bayern Munich don't give a shit about that. They'll go in and they'll get the player to go, I want to go to Bayern Munich. So it's a difficult deal for United, and I think some people think, just because Ten Hag's managing will get him, but that's the situation, as I've told you. And it's a difficult situation, and it is a bit of a setback because Ajax don't want to sell, and it's muddying the waters of a deal. I saw a story where Xavi wants Maguire plus 20 million for Frankie de Jong. Yeah, you're an idiot, Ivan. I'm sorry. That story's never going to happen if you think that's true. The one player United should be potentially breaking the bank for is Timber. Very fast for a centre-back, would complement Varane as well, says Steve. He can also play at right-back in his first season as well. Would you like to see more of the youth feature more next season in the first team, says Chris Bell. Not really. Not really. I mean, we've all got an opinion. We will always bring youth through at Man United, but I've got no obsession that we're playing 3 or 4 youth players next year. I mean, if you said to me we're going to play James Garner, Brandon Williams, Mabry, and Ethan Laird, I'd cry. I'd absolutely cry. I'd think, oh my God, there's one thing playing youth. You've got to be good enough. I don't want to play youth for the hell of it. Like, they've got to be good enough. I've seen plenty of youth over the last 30 years that just were not good enough. And we were giving them game time and they were never going to be good enough. And then Sir Alex got rid of them. They've got to be good enough. My obsession with Manchester United youth is not based on we've always got to play them. Like, they've got to be good enough. And I think that this squad is not good enough at the moment. And it's not going to be made good enough by youth players. Youth players have got to supplement a squad that's good, not make a squad better. Hi Mark, it's my mate Guzzy's birthday today. Can you please give him a shout out and call him a Pratt? Love the channel, says Andre. Thank you very much for that. My eyes are bloody killing me, I tell you. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out. Alt F4. No, I can't have hit Alt F4. It wasn't that. I'm pretty sure it was like Control and something, because I would have been doing probably Control and C or something. I don't know what I've done. Yeah, it's weird. Alt F4. I'm going to write that down, but that's definitely not what it was. Yeah, weird. Very, very weird. Alt 4 fixes it. I don't think Alt 4 does anything. Yeah, we're not getting into that. We're not going to do that anyway. Let's talk about... So, yeah, Eric, Timber, interesting to see what happens with him. I'd like Manchester United to get Timber, but that's the update. And look, I guarantee you there'll be a lot of outlets talking about Timber now because they won't have that update. So let's see what happens with that. Another update to bring you, and this is from the same person, so we'll see how accurate they are. You know, are they going to have a good summer or not? They also told me in relation to Lingard, I wouldn't get too hyped by all the news around Lingard. Obviously, his brothers put that thing out, but that's not Jesse Lingard. Obviously, Jesse Lingard's very disappointed. He did want to leave United in January, and the club stopped him, and Rangnick wanted him to go. So, basically, Lingard and Rangnick's relationship isn't terrible. Obviously, Lingard wanted to play, expected to play, but it's not like they're at loggerheads. And what I was told is that don't be surprised if Lingard actually starts against Brighton or Palace. He'll certainly play some minutes and he will get his goodbye. It just won't be at Old Trafford. It'll be in front of the away fans. So in relation to the Lingard situation, I was told that he will play again for Manchester United against Palace or Brighton. He may well end up starting against Palace as a 90-minute goodbye. So basically, around the Lingard situation, obviously there's disappointment from Lingard that he didn't get to play at Old Trafford, but it's certainly not fell to the levels that Lingard now will never play for Man United again. Fully expect him to get minutes against Brighton or Palace, and that was from the same person as well. So we'll see what happens with that. Hi Mark, if the youth have a good pre-season, then that's a good shout for the season ahead, perhaps. Food for thought for Ten Hag. Any movement on Nkunku, says Thomas. I spoke about Nkunku yesterday, which is why I'm finding it funny that people are breaking news Nkunku this morning. That's what I was sort of getting at the start of the show. Nkunku is a deal that Ralph Rangnick can do from Manchester United. I spoke to somebody about this a couple of days ago, and I mentioned it. I tweeted it 2 days ago as well. Manchester, the value of Ralph Rangnick as a consultant is that he can deliver an Nkunku deal. No one else in that club can do it. He's got the connections at Leipzig. He's got the connections into Nkunku. That's exactly what Ralph Rangnick was talking about in his press conference before the Brentford game. That I'm eager to get involved in recruitment and convincing players to come to Manchester United. And Nkunku is a player that Ralph Rangnick really is big on to bring to Manchester United, and that's Man United's value. Of course, we've seen these other stories from France, because he's French, saying that there are other clubs in for him and Leipzig are trying to keep him and this, that and the other. But I'm not really interested in what Newcastle want to do or what AC Milan want to do. I'm interested in what Manchester United are doing, and that's where I will be basing a lot of the United stand transfer summer on what Man United are doing. I don't care what Newcastle are doing or Arsenal or anyone like that. If they win the transfer battle, they win the transfer battle. But I'm interested in what United are doing. And United can go for Nkunku, and in Ralph Rangnick, we've got a very, very strong asset. Now, it's whether Erik Ten Hag wants Nkunku and whether Man United want to go after him. Rangnick will get him. I firmly believe Rangnick will get him. But it's whether United decide to go for him. And that's, at the moment, United haven't made a decision on what they're going to do. I believe, to be honest, United are going to buy one centre-back, one holding midfielder, one attacker, and then they're going to assess what they go for next. It might be another midfielder, it might be another attacker, it might be a fullback. But the three positions that they know they've got to get and they're working on is centre-back, midfielder, and attacker. Centre-back, we've just spoken about. Timber, Torres, Akanji, and maybe that other lad, Ndika. Midfield, look, Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips, Ruben Neves, whoever. Up front, you've got Nkunku, you've got Darwin Nunez, and I believe you've got Anthony as well. So I think United at the moment, in relation to Nkunku, I think that's a deal that Ralph Rangnick can certainly do for Manchester United, but I think it's going to come down to what Manchester United decide what they want to do. And that's going to be the interesting point on that. I personally think this might be another Ajax thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Ten Hag's saying he wants Anthony. From Papua New Guinea, love the content for years. Thank you for making my days better, says Hamish. Thank you very much, Hamish. But no, just going back to the midfield, I don't really have an update midfield today. I've adjusted the brightness, SB, but it's just not. It just seemed the contrast seems a lot different from when I was on it yesterday. Maybe it's a psychological thing. I don't know, but I know how to adjust the brightness, but that's just not doing anything. I'm going night mode, day mode. Day mode's too blue, so I must have had it on night mode. But night mode seems too contrasty. To turn high contrast on from the keyboard, press Alt and left Shift plus print screen. Don't press Alt 4. There's a troll. We'll shut your PC off, and we need Nkunku, Timber, and Rice. Says Michael. Tchouaméni, we're not in for Tchouaméni. Forget Tchouaméni. We're not in for Tchouaméni. Unless we're going to throw some really quick late deal in, we're not in for Tchouaméni. We're not being mentioned in relation to Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni at the moment is Real Madrid, Liverpool, and I think maybe Arsenal. But not Manchester United. We're not in for Tchouaméni. So, that's from multiple sources that we are not in for Tchouaméni. So, we've got to look at that. And I don't know where we're going to end up with that. But interestingly, a lot of people this morning talking about Steven Bergwijn. Now, this is a player that apparently Erik ten Hag has wanted to bring to Manchester United, not to Ajax for quite a while, and would love to bring to Manchester United. These are the sort of signings that I think you've got to take a leap of faith with Erik ten Hag, because not every signing is going to be, yeah, I'd do that. That's really exciting. If he brings Christian Eriksen and Steven Bergwijn with him to Manchester United, a lot of people are going to go, well, not sure about this. Maybe he is an LD Pep. And those sort of but this is where you've got to be resolute and, stick to the excitement and buzz you had when we had Erik ten Hag appointed in the first place. Do I think Steven Bergwijn is a suitable signing for Manchester United? No, I don't. But if Erik ten Hag does, then you've got to believe in the manager that one thing we're going to get is that he might see Steven Bergwijn as a bargain that's been underutilised or used in the wrong way that can be a real asset. So I think what they're saying is, and some of these stories are coming from The Athletic as well, that Steven Bergwijn is a player under consideration from Manchester United. Now, I think he's 25 next season. He's got a contract until 2025, but apparently Spurs would take 25 million. Now, 25 million for a 25-year-old that Erik ten Hag wants, who's an attacker, well, it's not Nkunku. It's not Anthony, is it? But I don't know. I genuinely do not know about that. I'd have to do a lot more looking into Steven Bergwijn. I know he scored against United a couple of years ago where he just ran past Maguire and Lindelof, who hasn't. But it's an interesting one. It's a signing that if it happened, you'd just go... It's a bit like when we were linked to Harry Winks a year ago. I mean, you look at it and you go, are we missing something there? I just don't see that he could come to United and be part of our rebuild future. But this is the second time in probably a week that we've been linked to Steven Bergwijn because of Erik ten Hag's admiration for him. And ultimately, I do want us to be in a situation where if Erik ten Hag says he wants that player, you go and get it. But I'd certainly be happier with an Nkunku than a Bergwijn. I think the quality, age and potential is a lot bigger, but then again so's the price tag. Mark, would you still advise players not to come to United like you did with Rice in the past, or has that changed with ten Hag's appointment? Says Ash. I think that's a great question, Ash. And which CDM are Man United interested in? Says Ishmael. Well, we spoke about it last night, Ishmael, in relation to the CDM, and I think that I think you've got to look at probably Calvin Phillips and Neves at the moment. They'd probably be the two I think that we're looking at the most. To be honest with you, but that can change very, very quickly. Going back to that previous question about Declan Rice, I have said it a few times this season. I would not advise Declan Rice to come to Manchester United. Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't. I've said it numerous times that I think he's a very, very good player, and his career would be best served going to a Chelsea or a Manchester City and not a Manchester United. Do I change my mind based on the fact that we've got Erik ten Hag? Look, I like Declan Rice. I'd love him to come to Manchester United. My problem is the price. The price ain't right for Rice. It's too expensive. If we spend £90 million on Declan Rice, which I think is what West Ham would want, I'd be completely terrified of that deal. I mean, I think Declan Rice is a really good player, and I guarantee he'll probably be a success wherever he goes, but £90 million brings a lot of pressure. We spent £89 million on Pogba. On paper, it was a brilliant bit of business. It didn't work out. We spent £80 million on Harry Maguire. It just didn't work out. We need to spend better on. We need more for our money, not less for our money. And I think Declan Rice price tag terrifies me. On top of that, I don't think it's a great move for him. I think it'd be a great move for us. I would very much welcome Declan Rice at Man United. I just don't think it's the right deal for him. But under Erik ten Hag, I mean, one thing I would say about Declan Rice is we're crying out for a leader. If you drop him into our midfield, he'd probably be captain within a year. And I think I heard somebody saying he could be sort of like the next Paul Ince from West Ham to United. He could be the next Roy Keane. I think that Declan Rice does fit the bill perfectly for Manchester United, but unfortunately we've fallen off, and I think that a couple of years ago, we might have been a really good prospect for him. But yeah, I don't see it happening. And of course, he wants to go to Chelsea. So if Chelsea go for him, Chelsea probably get him. But I would like him. I would like him, but the price is just too much, to be honest with you. Wolverine says we don't want any expensive English players, please. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying English. I just think that we've done it badly for so long. I mean, I don't want Calvert-Lewin. I think Calvert-Lewin is another stupid mistake if United do that. I wouldn't go anywhere near him. But on the other hand, I wouldn't go near Richarlison. Well, Richarlison's Brazilian, but he's another Premier League player, and I think United need to be very careful about Premier League experience. I don't think it's worth the paper it's written on, to be honest with you. Just the same as I don't think it was worth the paper it was written on for the managerial position if we'd gone for Pochettino. I don't think Premier League experience really matters. Most of Liverpool's players didn't come from the Premier League. Most of Man City's players didn't come from the Premier League, and look at them. So just shout out to Man City as well last night. Fantastic game. Probably the best game I've watched you play all season. It was really entertaining. So thank you very much to Man City last night for a very, very, very entertaining semi-final. I'm still tired from it now. It was absolutely incredible, and fair play for taking part. Purchase Winks then. I don't want Harry Winks, Leo. We don't want Harry Winks. But yeah, Bergwijn, I suppose in summary, Bergwijn is a player that I don't think most of our fan base would want. Having said that, if the manager wants him, then you've got to back the manager. That's what it's all about, isn't it? So we will see what happens with that. Spurs will certainly be looking to offload him, and I don't think there'll be many people queuing up to buy him. So there's probably a bargain to be had, but not all bargains are good. Just remember, if you're a member, if you are a member, we've got a new video coming out for you today. Normally come out on a Thursday lunchtime, so we've got a new video coming out for you today. You've been voting on the community tab. Which transfer in-depth video do you want as a members video? Ruben Neves versus Fred, Ndika versus Maguire, Milinkovic-Savic versus McTominay, Osimhen versus Ronaldo, or Mohamed Kamara of Salzburg in-depth scout report. 48% of you voted for Ruben Neves versus Fred stat comparison, so that's going to go up at lunchtime. So if you are a member, make sure you check that out. We've also got our members playlist, which is on the homepage, where you can watch all the videos that we're doing on there, exclusive content, extra content for our members as a thank you. If you want to become a member, click the join button. I think it's in the live chat, or you can just click the join button and get involved that way. Thank you for everyone who is a member and supporting the channel. You also get your badge next to your name as well. Right, next we're going to talk about Darwin Nunez. Now, this was tweeted out by the United Stand. I'm not 100% sure, if I'm honest, on this this actual source, so I'm not going to even mention it because I'm not 100% sure about it. You can check it on the United Stand MUFC. Our admin seems to think that they're not bad. I'm not convinced, but apparently Manchester United are leading the race for Darwin Nunez. Other clubs are in the race, of course. We know Newcastle are interested. We know a few other clubs are interested as well. But Darwin Nunez and Manchester United at the moment is looking like a real possibility. I don't know. I've got to be honest on this one. I do not know. Dean Henderson and 60 million for Rice, says CMB. Yeah, I think that's a very good deal. That would be a very, very good deal, to be fair. So yeah, I don't know. In relation to Darwin Nunez, I think that he would be a very, very good signing for Manchester United. I believe that he is the #1 target for Manchester United. I suppose the problem I'm having at the moment is that if you're going to pay 60 million for Calvin Phillips and you're going to pay 70 million for Darwin Nunez and you're going to spend 60 million on Nkunku, I've just spent 200 million on 3 players. We won't spend 200 million. And I think constructing this summer transfer window is something we're all going to have to do with a pen and paper at some point. Sean Collins, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. When you actually sit down and construct a Man United transfer window. So let's do it live here now. So I'm going to buy Timber for 35 million. Yeah. I'm going to buy Neves for 45 million. And these are good prices I'm getting here as well. And I'm going to buy Nunez for 60 million. Well, already I've spent 140 million on Timber, Neves and Nunez. I've probably only got one more signing. See what I mean? We're all talking about, well, let's do this, let's do that, but the prices add up very, very quickly, and that's getting Timber at a decent price, 35, Nunez at a decent price of 45, 60, and Neves at a price of 45. That's 140 million spent, and I'm getting them at a decent price as well. So it's going to be very difficult to construct. Mark, do you think we can get Felix? No. Josh, let's move on. How about Mitrovic guy from Fulham? Any good, or just because it's the Championship? 43 goals in a season, says Guantan. I wouldn't go anywhere near Mitrovic because he scores a lot of goals in the Championship, but if you actually monitor it, he scored a lot of goals in the Championship 2 years ago, came up in the Premier League, hardly played, went back to the Championship, played again, scored a load of goals. He ain't a Premier League striker of that much quality. Certainly not United standard. Hi Mark, why can't we go for Gvardiol if we aren't getting Timber? He's also from Leipzig, and Ranić may help us in cracking that deal. Yep, he's a good player, Rahul. We're just not linked to him. United should go for Izzy Jones from Borough. Also, cheers for the content, Mark. Thoughts on Wilder and Middlesbrough chances of the playoffs, says Spudders. I think if he gets you in the playoffs, you've got a good chance of going up. But I think there's some good players in the Championship. Spence is a player I would go for personally, who is also a Middlesbrough player. But yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere near Mitrovic. In relation to us being favourites to sign Darwin Nunez, what does that even mean? It's the 5th of May. How can you even... look, I've been following transfers since I was about 8 on teletext, and you almost become a transfer expert by definition of how many years you've been watching transfers, and you sort of remember different transfer races and all sorts. And there is no such thing as being ahead in a transfer race. You're never ahead in a transfer race because no one's even put a bid in yet. So how can you be ahead? Oh, you've had a bit of a chat with his agents. So the way this will work with Darwin Nunez is United will speak to Benfica and the player and say they're interested, and then Benfica and the agent will get in contact with 4 or 5 other clubs and say United are going to put a bid in, and they'll start a bidding war, and that's what'll happen. You're never going to be ahead in a race unless you've got the player that desperately wants to come to Man United, and I don't think Darwin Nunez is expressing any desperation to come to Manchester United, to be honest with you. Hi Mark, I really like the thought of Bruno on the wing with Nkunku through the middle, just like how Ten Hag plays Tadic on the wing at Ajax currently, says Akil. Interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how he uses Bruno, to be honest with you. Robin says Dream 35 million plus Martial for Tchouameni, 70 million plus Garner loan for Neves and Traore, 60 million Nunez, 35 million Timber, Dembele on a free, says Robin. Robin's got his pen and paper out, and he's been thinking it through. I must just come back to one thing as well. Somebody said at the start, what's your expectations from Man United over the next 2 years? My expectations over the next 2 years are quite simple. Playing better football, making the fans happier, and belief in a team that can get back to winning trophies. And I would also hope in the first 2 years we do win a trophy as well. Should United target Skriniar and Martinez? Apparently Inter have put them up for sale, and they have been performing well under Conte and now Inzaghi, says Pusher. No, I wouldn't go for Skriniar anymore. A few years ago I would have gone for Skriniar, but I don't want to go for Skriniar anymore. Lautaro Martinez is interesting. I worry about whether he's the right profile of player for Manchester United. I personally think the right profile of player for Manchester United is somebody that is... Nkunku's prime example. Darwin Nunez is a prime example. Tchouameni's a prime example. These are the sort of signings United should be going for. Up-and-coming players that a lot of people are looking at, that are exciting, ready to take the step up and are hungry to succeed. They're the players United should be looking for. I think that on the striking position, it's really interesting as well, because if Ronaldo stays, which I think he will, I can't remember where I heard it or read it. Someone was talking about, could Ronaldo go back to Sporting Lisbon because they're in the Champions League next year? I mean, I don't think he needs to go to Sporting Lisbon for another couple of years. Like, I think Ronaldo will want to play at the top level next year, and I think he will be at United. All right, we're not going to be playing at the top level because we're not going to be in the Champions League, but we are playing in the Premier League, and he's also got a World Cup to play for. So I think Ronaldo will be at United next season. But I don't think Ronaldo will be playing Thursday to Sunday. I think by virtue of this terrible season, it actually solves a big problem for Ronaldo next year. This longevity issue of being able to play at the top level game in, game out. Now, if Cristiano Ronaldo was playing in the Champions League next year, there would be an expectation from Ronaldo, like this year, that he plays Tuesday, Wednesday in the Champions League, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then he plays in the weekend at the Premier League game. And, you know, it's a 3 or 4 day rest in between both games, and he would look to be playing in both, 2 games a week. With the Europa League, there's no leeway. You're going to play Thursday and you're going to play Sunday. Thursday night, Sunday afternoon, 2.5 day break. I don't think that helps Ronaldo at all. So, actually, I think it solves an issue of Ronaldo won't be able to play Thursday night and Sunday because it's just too quick of a turnaround. So I think what we'll end up with is we'll be able to say to a striker, look, Ronaldo's here for another year. He's the greatest striker in the world, in our opinion, and you're going to work alongside him and develop alongside him. You're going to be starting on a Thursday night in the Europa League. He's going to start at the weekend. We might play together at the weekend. We might need you to come on for the last 20 minutes at the weekend. Ronaldo might come on for you in the Europa League for the last 20 minutes, but you are basically going to share that number 9 role this season. Cristiano's on board with it. We want you on board on it. And in a year's time, Ronaldo will probably go and then you will become the number 9. It is a brilliant opportunity for Manchester United to really sell a situation to a young striker and say, look, year 1, adjustment year, you can hit the ground running, you can hit a load of goals, or you can have the patience to, settle in, work along Cristiano Ronaldo, start in the Europa League games. You will be involved in the Premier League games. I think it's really interesting to see what United can do, because I think Ronaldo is going to be happy with that. He's got a World Cup at Christmas, and I think if we can find the right profile of young player, it's a very exciting situation as well. So who we go for, I don't know. Does Darwin Nunez want to do that? Play Europa League football for Man United and potentially be second fiddle to Ronaldo? We'll have to wait and see, but I'm certainly intrigued to see who United go for. Welcome to the Members Club, Dawid. Appreciate that. Remember, we've got our new Members Club video coming out for you at lunchtime. Deep dive into Renato Sanchez, Ruben Neves. Depending who you play on the Sunday, it may be the Premier League game he misses, says Daniel Stewart. Yeah, well, that alternation is absolutely fine as well, especially after Christmas. But it's going to be very interesting to see how it works out with Man United in the transfer window, because there are options there. And it's about getting the right profile of player in. And I will sit here right now and say, this transfer window is not going to go anywhere near the way you think it's going to go, or I think it's going to go. It's going to go in ways that we never envisaged right now. The midfielder we get could be completely left field. The centre-back we get could be not what we're expecting. The forward could be not what we're expecting. You might end up bringing in a Steven Bergwijn. And what I would go... I know we've mentioned Steven Bergwijn a lot, and I don't want to depress people. I mean, I don't want to sign him, but if Ten Hag wants him, then let's go get him. But we talk about how much money we've got to spend. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. These players who've got 1 year left on their deal that you can get for less than 30 million, you could buy 5 players for 30 million and spend 150 million. We haven't got a lot to play with. You get Steven Bergwijn in for 25 million. You get that centre-back in from Eintracht Frankfurt for 20 million. You get Spence in for 20 million. You've got a right back, an attacker, and a centre back for 65 million. We need some quality players in, and we need quantity as well. And this is what I mean. We're gonna ship around in all sorts of different situations. I'd like to get Anthony. Could be a great player, says Mark. It'd be a lot of money as well. Wasn't it reported that Ronaldo isn't in Ten Hag's plans? Well, that's just total utter bollocks. I am doing the Jaws watch along tonight. Yes, looking forward to that. In a way, got my snacks ready. 10:30 tonight on Goldbridge TV, Twitch. You need to be an Amazon Prime subscriber, but just check it out. Spence is good. Growell, I agree. One thing I did want to mention, actually, I'm just going to revert back to a story. So Timber, the latest on Timber, and this is from a very good source. 2 things from a very good source this morning. 1, Lingard and Rangnick's relationship isn't broken. Obviously, Lingard's very pissed off, but the expectation is that Lingard will probably start against Crystal Palace, but will certainly get some minutes in the next 2 games. So that's off the training ground. And the second thing is, in relation to Timber, United are facing a bit of a setback with him. Ajax don't want to sell him. United and Ten Hag don't want to force the move because they don't want to piss off Ajax, who've been very good around the recruitment of Ten Hag and allowing him to leave so easily. So United are in a difficult position with Timber because they want him for Ten Hag, but they don't want to push it because it'll piss Ajax off. And then Bayern Munich are in the background going, well, we don't really care about pissing anybody off. We've already took Gravenberch and the right back. So Timber is a difficult deal. I still think United can do it. And what I was told this morning is that, yeah, United definitely can do it. But it's a difficult deal to do because United can't just swoop in and go, we want you, and take him without really pissing off Ajax. And Bayern Munich quite fancy doing that themselves. So my personal take on it is that I'm probably about 50-50 on Timber at the moment. There's no doubt that we want him. There's no doubt that we want him because Ten Hag wants him. But it is difficult. It's difficult to manoeuvre a manager out of Ajax with everyone's smile. Everyone's got a smile on the face. You know, Ajax is sort of like, we don't want you to go, but we understand it. Ten Hag's going, I've had a great time, but I want to go. And Man United are like, thank you, Ajax, for letting us have him. We'll look after him. And everyone's got a smile on the face with different emotions. And then you're like, can we have Timber? As no, shut up. You're not having Timber. And it's like, Ten Hag's like, I really want Timber. We know you do, but we're only just waving him off saying thank you for you. But I do want Timber. I know you do. How do we do it, though, without upsetting them? Is there a way? It will take a bit of time. And Bayern Munich are there going in through the back door saying, come to us, Timber. So it's a difficult one. Hey, Mark, I'm friend Noah Baggio is a Scot and doesn't leave his home, says insert name. And how about James Tavernier, Rangers right back, excellent defender, 44 goals in the past 5 seasons. I'm amazed no Premier League team has looked at him, says Ash. I'm sure Premier League teams have looked at him and probably decided he ain't Premier League quality for some reason, I don't know. Jude says, any future for Donny, Ahmad and Garner, or will be on loan? Jude, I think that you make a good point. I mean, Ahmad, I don't know. Garner, certainly. And Donny van der Beek is going to be like a new signing. He is. He's going to be like a new signing, isn't he? Because he's played under Ten Hag. He's a midfielder. Donny van der Beek's like a new signing. So I think there's definitely a future for Donny van der Beek at Manchester United. A lot of people are talking about Dumfries. Maybe you should check out the show last night because I don't like going over old ground. We ain't UK gold. And Dumfries we were linked to yesterday, formerly of PSV, had a very good Euros, moved to Inter Milan a year ago. Man United had been linked to him, ridiculously impossible deal to do. I mean, look, we've just spoken there about how you construct a successful transfer window with 150 million quid, when Benfica want over 60 for Nunez and Leipzig want over 60 for Nkunku, and you know Neves is a 50 million, Phillips is 60 million. And then we're going to go and buy a right back that we might not even bother buying a right back who's only been at Inter for a year. They're going to want 30, 40 million for him. So, yeah, I'm sure Dumfries is a player that Ten Hag would like, but we can't just spend 40 million on every single player. We'll only end up buying 3. So we've got to try and find a few bargains in year 1. And remember as well, I've said this about signing players, and we've said it about selling players as well. We're going to see probably 10 players walk out of United this summer. And you'll still want to sell another 6. Doesn't mean that other 6 won't go next summer. And that's the enormity of the job of United. We can't sell everybody who needs to go this summer. Therefore, we'll have some of them next season playing. And we can't buy everybody we need this summer. So therefore, next season we'll still have some issues. We ain't starting next summer with the dream team. We're starting next summer with a better team. But we're still going to have some of the deadwood. And we're going to need to sell that deadwood in a year and buy more in. So, look, we can't solve every problem in season 1. Hi, Mark. Could you wish my bro Ash a happy birthday? He's 12. We love your shows and laugh along every day. Sorry to go off topic. Thank you very much, Ryan. I appreciate that. The one thing I just wanted to say as well is look at all these injuries we've had from United players over the last 4 months. I can't play this game. I can't play that game. Look at Liverpool. How many injuries have Liverpool had over the last month? When they've been playing FA Cup semi-finals, every Premier League game's a cup final because they're trying to win every game so that they can somehow get past City. They're into a Champions League final. May, FA Cup final, Champions League final, every Premier League game's a cup final. How many injuries are Liverpool getting? Never tell me that footballers don't just fancy a couple of weeks off. Oh, I've got a bit of a knock, this, that and the other. It's amazing the amount of knocks and injuries United have picked up since Christmas compared to Liverpool. And what's the difference? One of them's going for major trophies. One of them is getting shit from the fans because they're shit. And welcome to the world of football, everybody. What if we get loan deals and have a buy option from other teams, says Diab. I mean, I don't really feel that United are a club that is going to be able to do loan deals, but I wouldn't mind it. We'll wait and see. Look, thanks everyone for watching. We've got our members video exclusively going up at midday. Check that out if you are a member. Maybe you can do that by hitting the join button. And at 2 o'clock today, we've got a preview. We're live at 2 o'clock for a preview for the Brighton game. Ooh, we're not completely forgotten about that. So there's a preview at 2 o'clock. I'll be live for that. And then normally 8 o'clock show tonight as well. And then I'm doing stuff on Twitch. I've got me World Cup thing this afternoon, and then tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Hi Mark, and I'll speak to you all soon.